All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets in the NBA on Saturday. Have a 7-game slate, lots to get into. With that, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, guys, we are getting a limited board right now, but I do want to do a game-by-game breakdown. We are getting enough prop bets on each game, not so much on prize picks, but on Underdog, we are getting a decent amount. I will start off with showing you guys the prize picks board as it sits right now, so you guys can see that. And right now, we are getting Michael Porter Jr. for over 2.53. So if you guys are someone that is watching this late, as I'm posting this, I'm recording this video at like 11 p.m., that's going to be a good bet if that one's still available. We do have Duncan Robinson for over 14.5 PRA. I don't exactly love that one. Jimmy Butler over 5.5 rebounds. That's okay, but not really that many EV bets. We got one on the board right now, but I do like starting out with that in case you guys have the notification bell. Doesn't really matter right now because not many people are going to click on it. But guys, when you do watch this video, give a thumbs up. That will help out the video a decent amount. But let's go ahead and start with the first game. The first game that we have is going to be Cleveland versus Charlotte. Okay, and so looking at Charlotte, guys, they are pretty banged up. So they're going to be without Ball. They're going to be without Bridges. Nick Richards could be out. Salone, who had been someone that was playing decently, he's going to be out as well. And so Brandon Miller probably going to play a lot, even in blowout run. This was the first game in their last game against New York where he did not get blowout run and still played 30 minutes in that game. I don't really want to bet on him, though, because this game is an 11.5 point spread. And so I'm a little bit worried that he might not get blowout run. But there's one player that I do like a decent amount, Miocic, to get over his points line. All right, and actually we are getting some prize picks lines here as well. So for him, guys, for him to get over 12.5 points, I really don't mind this bet to get over 12.5 points. You look at his production with all those players off the court, he actually averages 17.5 points per 36. For what it's worth, 3.5 rebounds, 6.6 assists as well. So, his points and assists line could be a bet that you run out as well. I don't mind targeting these ones where they're not really factoring in the assist as much as they probably should be. Decent usage rate, 24% as well, but he's just going to be thrust into a ton of minutes here. And if we look at last game as well, that game that was a blowout in which Salone, I don't think I'm saying his last name right, but anyways, the player that got injured last slate, then we saw Miocic get 35 minutes in that game, and I don't think that was a fluke. We have seen Charlotte beat them before, and we have seen him get minutes before as well. 34 minutes 2 games ago against Atlanta, 15 points in that game, 35 minutes here, 14 points in that game. So it's very important that we get those minutes, but again, just given how banged up they are, 3 guards already out, he should be getting a bunch of run in this game. And that's more or less the bet that we are targeting here. And then, guys, let's go ahead and get into Darius Garland on the flip side of this game. So the issue that we have here is that it is an 11-point spread. That does mean that Cleveland is probably going to play well, but that doesn't mean we're going to be able to nail on who is going to be the one that's going to be the most productive in this matchup when they could have limited minutes. Now, obviously, if we knew that they're all going to play the normal allotment of minutes, we would want to be hammering their overs in this matchup. But Garland is someone that I do like. Now, we are going to notice that even at 20.5, the under is still pretty favorited, but this is a prop line difference, okay, between prize picks and Underdog and the average sportsbook line right now. I actually don't mind the over here for Garland for his points and rebounds. He has a decent hit rate for this, but the one I want to call out, the one that I like a little bit better, is actually going to be his over points and assists of 24.5. Now, Garland has been playing well recently. He's been scoring a bunch recently as well, but he has a very good hit rate on the season with this bet. Averages a 60% or 68% hit rate for him to get over 24.5 points and assists. Overall in the season, overall against Charlotte, 69%. So pretty strong across the board there. You guys know I typically don't like to reference like hit rates for bets. Especially like in NBA where it's very situational, matchup dependent, and for a lot of the lineups, it really depends on who's in or out. For Cleveland, they've been pretty healthy, so I don't mind mentioning the hit rate. Again, 68%, good matchup. He should be able to get that over. And then we have another one that I personally like. Again, for this video, guys, this is both for prize picks and Underdog, but it's also more for traditional sportsbook bets as well. We're trying to get an early jump on some potential lines that might be bumped up throughout the day and really give us an edge there. So Donovan Mitchell is one that maybe when you guys are watching this, it is updated on the board here on the 9-to-5 prize picks or Underdog cheat sheet board where it's giving us a higher likely to hit, and then we would be wanting to bet that one a little bit more. But this is more of a traditional sports bet where I think we're going to be gaining an edge here. Now, again, I'm going to mention his hit rate. Typically, I don't like to reference that too much because I do think it can, kind of hurt more than it helps. But again, with Cleveland, the situations haven't really changed too much. The Charlotte matchup is pretty solid as well. So he has a 76% hit rate on the season for him to get over 8.5 rebounds and assists. against Charlotte, it's not really worth referencing because how banged up they are, but about 57%. And so I do, I mean, looking at the game log there, right, guys? I do like this one a decent amount, but this is a situation where maybe the game gets out of hand a little bit too fast, and then Donovan Mitchell isn't needed as much. Same thing could happen with Garland, but I do think one of those two will easily hit. So I want to go ahead and get into OKC versus the Pelicans here, guys. So the Pelicans are definitely in an interesting spot here because they have gotten healthy. And because they have gotten healthy, they're a little bit harder to kind of trust. But because they've gotten healthy, they're not as likely to get blown out in games. Now, they are 7.5-point dogs in this game, so that is a little bit of a concern. But I want to call it Herb Jones. So Herbert Jones came back from injury last night, or well, as I'm recording this last night, it'll be 2 nights ago. By the time most of you guys are watching this, 32 minutes in that game, which is highly encouraging for me. And if we're going to see him consistently get those minutes in games that aren't a blowout, and 7.5 points, maybe it's a little bit closer than that. They have CJ McCollum healthy, they have Brandon Ingram healthy, and they have DeJounte Murray healthy. Like, they better start playing better. I know they're going against OKC, but still, I'm encouraged by that. And guys, so this is going to be another bet that I think is just a better traditional sportsbook bet than it's going to be an underdog or PrizePicks bet. I actually like the over here for Herbert Jones to get over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And that's going to be mostly predicated on him getting those minutes, getting 32 minutes. And it's not a terrible matchup for him. If you wanted to do points instead, 8.5, I think that does heavily correlate. That's not as much as the other, but again, not a bet that you typically want to target on PrizePicks or Underdog if you guys are betting there. Now, I do really think we have some stacking opportunities in this game. Like Brandon Ingram to get over his points, I really don't mind. To me, it's a little bit too low. 18.5, again, the under is slightly favored as it sits right now. I would expect that would be changed, but he has been someone that's been playing well, and so has CJ McCollum. And so we look at Brandon Ingram's game log, 29 points in the last game, and I do want to call it, like, we haven't seen this lineup that much. We've only seen them play 2 games, about 50 minutes total with Ingram, McCollum, and DeJounte Murray, but Ingram has played well, and CJ McCollum has played well in those 2 games. Very small sample size. We shouldn't take anything away from that, and now we have Herbert Jones into that mix as well, so it is definitely a tighter mix there. We don't want to go crazy with that, but CJ McCollum has played well as well, and so I actually don't mind the idea of, like, all right, let's bet on some of the Pelicans guys, because I personally feel like their lines are a little bit too low. Maybe the game doesn't end up being a blowout. Again, for me, I start to worry about a blowout at about 7.5 points, and so we can bet the over there and feel pretty decent about it. So CJ McCollum over his points, you could stack that game there. And then for what it's worth, I still think the lines that we're getting on Isaiah Hartenstein are all a little bit too low. And really, I don't mind any of the over bets for him. He has been someone that's been playing extremely well, not exactly scoring a lot, but getting a lot of rebounds, getting a lot of assists. And again, if we are maybe trying to attack this game with a little bit of a game stack where it's a little bit closer than what Vegas is thinking, that does increase the likelihood for Hartenstein to get a little bit more run in this game. And if that happens, I think he has a great chance to get over 15.5 rebounds and assists. And just real quickly, if you guys are wondering why the projection data is not pulling in, it's because the projection data updates the day of the event taking place. So obviously, I'm recording this video the night before, no projection data in there. So let's go ahead and jump on into another game here. We got Denver versus Washington, and this is certainly going to be an interesting spot here. Washington is going to be without Malcolm Brogdon again, and also going to be without Corey Kispert, who has been someone that's been playing well and playing a lot of minutes when Malcolm Brogdon has been out as well. Malcolm Brogdon was out a bunch earlier on in the season. Kyle Kuzma is also still going to be out in this game. Looking at it, guys, as well, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are both currently questionable. I wouldn't be shocked if one of those two were to sit in this game. Just given the matchup with Washington, they should be able to beat them without one of those two or both of them. And so I don't mind the idea of that Michael Porter Jr. bet of over, 3.5 3 balls made. We know he is shooting a lot of those, but he is someone you could potentially just bet on to have a good just day shooting in general, just points total. Sorry, it was 2.5 3-pointers made there. But on PrizePicks, we're only getting him with that. And then we're not getting any enough data coming in here to give a proper projection here. But again, that's probably because Murray and Aaron Gordon, we don't know if they're going to play or not. I'm actually surprised that we're getting those lines because, again, to me, it makes logical sense that one of those two sit. And if one of those two sit, or if they both sit, I mean, these lines that we're getting on Michael Porter Jr. are simply too low. You could argue Jokic as well. Here. But his production doesn't increase too much with Murray off the court. If Murray were to sit, it goes off slightly. And so I don't feel the need to get there. And that's kind of it for bets in that game. So let's go ahead and jump on into the next game. And we'll jump on into Dallas versus Toronto. So Grady Dick is currently getting projections for this game. So he could be active in this game. Wait. Let's jump back into Washington versus Denver real quick. Sorry, guys. Jump back into this real quick because, yeah, Washington is very thin. And we're not getting any Bub Carrington prop bets just yet, but we are getting Balil Coulibaly prop bets, and I think I like the overs for him. So I don't know if we need to go crazy with this bet, but I do like him to get over 10.5 points, or you could even do the points and assists. So we are seeing the over is somewhat favored here, 51.9% here, so, decent there. He does average 15.5 points per 36 with Malcolm Brogdon off the court. Now, we could toss in Corey Kispert into that sample size as well, but it becomes a little bit too small for me to truly trust. But he still does easily average this over. It's about the same, like 14.8 points per 36 with Corey Kispert, Malcolm Brogdon, and Kyle Kuzma off the court. But either way, a still solid bet there. And we are getting this line pretty low because he has been shooting the basketball terribly recently, guys. You will see if we look on PrizePicks, he has not been able to get the overs. Now, this is very twofold. One, Malcolm Brogdon has been playing in those games, soaking up a lot of his role. And two, he's just been shooting the basketball terribly. This game probably be a blowout. Denver is favored by 13 points in this game, but there's a good chance that he is needed to play even in blowout run. And so I don't hate that. I would rather bet on Bub Carrington, who actually averages 14.5 points, 5.6 rebounds, 6.1 assists. So he's someone we can get to. But the strange thing there is that their usage rates are all small. Coulibaly, Bub Carrington, they're all about like 18%. So it's actually Jordan Poole just soaking up most of the usage there. But we would argue Coulibaly due for a good day shooting, right? It goes both ways there, where it's like, oh, he's cold, we can't be on him. At the same time, the reason, like, he's been extremely cold, he's due for a good night shooting, right? And so maybe that happens tonight against Denver, who is pretty poor against stopping opposing guards. So I don't hate that bet. And so now we jump on into Dallas versus Toronto. So yeah, guys, not really much that I love here with Toronto. Toronto could be without Jakob Poeltl here as well, which I really wouldn't know what to do with that. And so I'm mostly staying away from them. The only bet that I somewhat like here is actually Daniel Gafford, just because he gets a good matchup, and I feel like his lines are just a little bit too low with how well he plays. I actually like his over points and rebounds. Again, pulling this up on the 9-to-5 underdog cheat sheet, we're going to notice that he has about a 51.5% chance to get the over right now as it sits. Again, not that many lines coming in just yet. This is a bet that I do kind of expect for the Vegas to like a little bit more. He actually has an insane hit rate, guys. 75% hit rate on the season. He draws a good matchup. Minutes might be a little bit limited with him, and if this game blows out a little bit too fast, maybe doesn't get the over, maybe doesn't get those minutes, but I'm kind of fine with that. Just I'm okay riding the hot hand here, especially in a good matchup. So guys, Memphis versus Boston, we're not getting any lines coming in just yet for them. It's a little bit too early. Boston had a game tonight. We don't know who's going to play or not play in that game just yet. And so with that, let's go ahead and get into Detroit versus New York here. For New York, Jalen Brunson is currently questionable, and he hasn't missed a game thus far this season. Given the fact that they're going against Detroit, maybe he does sit in this game. And if he does sit in this game, I think OG would be someone that we can get to as like a good bet. He is someone that actually averages 4.2 more points per 36 with Jalen Brunson off the court. Now, OG is someone that has been a little bit streaky in terms of his points. We saw him really go off and have a really solid stretch there. It was the whole Anne Hathaway thing. I don't know if you guys saw that, where since he ran into Anne Hathaway, he's been crushing, which was somewhat fun and true. Happened like early on in the season. Had a good run. Then they got healthy. Everyone was kind of back there playing. But he's playing heavy minutes. I think he can get his over regardless. And we're going to see that this is another bet where the over is at least favored here. 52% likely to hit for him to get over 16.5 points. Regardless, if Jalen Brunson does play, like, this is still a pretty good line to me, especially given the matchup with Detroit. I'm perfectly content getting to that. Now, New York is 11 point favorites in this game. Maybe that plays into him not being able to get the over, it just blows out too fast, but that's kind of been the nature of New York thus far this season. That's the only bet that I like in that game. And in the last game, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. We are going to have Phoenix versus Miami, a matchup that has been somewhat difficult for both teams and some of the star players on both teams. Devin Booker is someone that has kind of struggled thus far this season in terms of points in general. KD is going to be out in this game seemingly, and if he is going to be out, and so he actually has a 62% hit rate for this under thus far this season, 29.5 points. And if we look at it, sure, these lines have been very close against the Pelicans 28, Spurs 29, Golden State 27, Brooklyn 20-31. Like, he's at least been consistent. We know that it's going to be a little bit of a sweat, but given the matchup with Miami, I would be more on the underside of it anyways. And so I'm honestly a little bit surprised that's this high. I could see this line jumping down to 28.5, or, on like PrizePicks, I could see it just jumping down to 29, where they just bump it down slightly. And then looking at Bam to actually get under his PRA of 34.5, he has been someone that, if we look at his game log, he has been consistently getting that under as well. He actually has a 73% hit rate for this under thus far this season, and a 77% hit rate against Phoenix, which to me was a little bit shocking, but maybe that does point to something there for us. And if we look at this again, if we are trying to gain like an early edge on PrizePicks or Underdog, we can see that the under is still somewhat favored at about 52% likelihood for him to get under 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So with that, guys, going to go ahead and get into the 9 to 5 bet of the day here. If you guys enjoyed this video, even if you didn't, but you enjoy watching the other videos, make sure to give a like to the video, guys. That does help out a lot. Subscribe to the channel as well if you guys have never done that before. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get into the 9 to 5 bet of the day. But first, just another quick promo. Use the promo code KeepCashing to get access to the 9 to 5 cheat sheets, get access to all the best bets in the NBA, whether it be on PrizePicks or Underdog. Take advantage of that, guys. Turn your $10 membership into $8 for the first month. All right, guys, so jumping on into the 9 to 5 bet of the day. Now, this is an interesting day. There's a lot of bets that I think are good, that I like. I wouldn't say there's that many great bets. The last few nights, it felt like we have gotten some pretty solid bets, and it's been rewarding. This is a slate in which, like, I have 8 bets here. I'm hoping we go 5 for 8 here, honestly. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. There's a lot of spots here where we're trying to get lucky with some injury news as well, kind of breaking our way. But overall, I like the bets that we're on. So just to recap, I like the idea of stacking some of these bets. Okay, so like Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, I don't mind stacking those two together in a game stack with Charlotte if we're doing that. Miocic to get over 12.5 points as well. I don't hate that idea. You could run out that 3-slip bet. Koulibaly is someone that, he'll get the shot attempts up. We know that he'll get the minutes. We know as well. Just needs to shoot the basketball better, and you would argue he is due to have a good night shooting. Isaiah Hartenstein, I went with over 3.5 assists. That's the bet I went with here. This one has like a 0.9x return on Underdog, so not the best there. But again, I just think he's going to continue to play well. That's the bet I went with here. I don't know if there's actually a bad bet with him. And then Herbert Jones, probably the most interesting one there. Could have argued I could have easily went with Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum to get over their points. And again, you could stack that there, but I went with Herbert Jones. 32 minutes or so is what he should get in this game. And if he does get that, I do think there's a good chance that he does end up getting this over. And then looking at Devin Booker, we just mentioned that. Has struggled against Miami, tough matchup. And then OG Anunoby to get over 16.5 points. Again, if Jalen Brunson sits, that's going to be a massive edge for us. And I do think there's the potential that Brunson does end up sitting. So a lot of bets there, guys. Oh, and as we're getting to the PrizePicks bet slip, this one just went and finalized. This was the Flex Friday slip. Ended up being a double up. Yabu he got like 13 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. Just annoying there. And then PrizePicks, just a small little 2-slip bet here. It's a decent line. That kind of just already mentioned it. I like these two. I think Miocic's going to step up and have a bigger role. And then I do like the matchup for Darius Garland. This line's off by 1 compared to PrizePicks and Underdog. If he's going to get his over points and assists, he should probably still be able to get his over points and rebounds there as well. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the video. Comment your guys' favorite prop bet as well. If there's one that I missed that you guys like, let us know as well. All right, that's going to be all, guys. Again, if you guys want access to any of the tools, head on over to 95sports.com. Get access to us for just $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.